There are a lot of reviews of the Pixel 10, whether it's the 10, the 10 Pro series, or the 10 Pro Fold. Pixels is just one of those devices that on YouTube is well covered. And that's just because for a long time, tech enthusiasts have been backing this phone from the very beginning. Well, you know, I would say this before getting into today's video though. If y'all could do me a solid and hit that like button, I would absolutely, truly appreciate it because it does help out quite a bit. And yeah, more Pixel coverage here on the channel. That's like one of my favorite topic discussions to discuss. But this is going to seem a little bad just because when I started to think about things started to make more sense to me. And it's like, uh-oh, we just created a monster. Hear me out so you guys know why. So when you look at Pixel, right? Pixel came on the back of the ending of the Nexus program. The Nexus program obviously meant for them to basically, you know, showcase the latest version of Android by commissioning one of the OEMs to build hardware for them so they can put this new version of Android on there and get the world hip to what new features and new user interface styles that they've come up with. That was Nexus. Pixel came along and, you know, for the most part in the early days, it was always about photography and it was really good. Photos taken from previous Pixels and what I call chapter 1 Pixels, which is the Pixel 1 to the Pixel 5, have all done really good when it comes to photography. Because one of the biggest pain points there would be videography, and it still kind of exists today. However, you know, photography was his main point, right? And so that was like the rivalry that people saw, right? Pixels with their photography versus iPhone and their videography, and that was like the battle. But there was something going on behind the scenes that I think none of us were really picking up on as tech enthusiasts. And it's not to say that we're not real tech enthusiasts. It's just something that, you know, that it's been hush-hush. It's never been like primarily focused on until people started putting the puzzles together now with the Pixel 10, the 10th generation Pixel release, you know, big changes with the Pixel lineup, and now it all makes sense. You see, as tech enthusiasts, we've been behind Pixels. We've been pushing for them to literally, you know, just get up there and market share and become like this really dominant force. And, you know, to be quite honest with everybody, it's reached that point. So as it was climbing up the ranks, as it was ready to, you know, to just contend against, you know, Samsung, contend against, you know, iPhone, they started to make a change. See, like I would say, you know, from the Pixel 1 to the Pixel 5, it was more of just like Google playing around and seeing what people would like. And for the most part, yes, tech enthusiasts were loving the different things that Pixel did. Some things were very questionable and was like, why do this? But, you know, when you look back, right, especially with the Pixel 3 and dual selfie cameras to basically have like that ultra wide selfie, which they called groupie. I mean, that was pretty playful, right? And then you got Project Soli in the Pixel 4 series. The Pixel 5 was like a transitional device. The Pixel 5 was just like, okay, you know what? Like we know what we want to do, and we're gonna do it with the Pixel 6, and they did. Not only did they build an identity where now you can see a Pixel phone and know it's a Pixel. They also strayed away from using Qualcomm and the Snapdragon processors in favor of an in-house processor, which everyone always wants to go on that. An in-house processor, Samsung built it for them. Yeah, same thing, you know, with other companies. They say in-house processor and TSMC built it for them. So where's the argument there? But basically what I'm saying is that the Tensor was born. The Tensor G1 came. And a lot of us, and even till today, it still happens with tech enthusiasts. All they do is compare benchmark scores and can it run this game? And they're not really looking into what Google's been throwing in our faces all this time at I/O. At every I/O event, what I know that we're going to get on the keynote is a discussion topic that talks about the advancements in AI. Okay, so the early days of the Pixel was about photography. Now it's about AI. AI is the front thing of a Pixel phone, and photography is secondary. And it's because a lot of the image processing was done on a Pixel phone. You could take a photo of something and it would process that photo and clean it up and bring you the best result it could bring you. And nowadays that comes like, you know, like second nature to the Pixel because of AI. AI helps. I mean, like you look at the Pixel 10 and I'll tell you guys, photos I've taken with this with a 20 times zoom and capturing the full moon. Those details in the full moon, I know are not from the actual sensor all by itself. Like AI had fixed that for me to bring me a very good looking zoom shot. And just imagine on the 10 Pro with 100 times zoom. So when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, okay, so that's what it is. It's AI. It's subtle advancements. They had a good partnership with Samsung. So Samsung was building the tensor processors. In exchange, Samsung got, to tap into the performance of Gemini for their Galaxy AI. And Google also got to take a page out of Samsung's book with foldable technology. So that was like the relation between them. And as you guys can see, Samsung stepping away and doing their own for Galaxy AI, kind of straying away from Google. Also the telltale sign that, the stars are aligning and this battle between these three tech giants is about to really kick off. And so, yeah, you start to see that, Pixels is kind of doing things similarly to Apple, right? In-house built processor, and they're starting to really just like step away from the two-tone playful colors and going to these solid but kind of mature type colors. And so that's what we're getting nowadays. And of course, they disbanded the Team Pixel based on YouTube Tech Enthusiast, and now they're doubled down on social media influencers on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, etc. Right? The everyday people that's not going to sit there and always focus on the specs. It has this much RAM, this much storage, yada, yada, yada. But more of just like the cameras can do this, the cameras can do that. The phone is intelligent enough to know when I'm traveling in New York City, and they've just, the AI just brings this up, to remind me of something or to let me know that I have this appointment, that appointment. Like they show you what the phone can do in the day-to-day operations instead of about what's on black and white. So yeah, they decided to go with them. And now a lot of tech enthusiasts are just like calling out, the Pixel 10, and it's like, oh yeah, 128 gig storage, $799, iPhone beats it. And to a lot of us, we kind of agree. We're like, yeah, they should have lowered the price on it. But look at what they did. Sales are climbing and still climbing, even though it's $799 for the base model Pixel 10, it's still selling. Why is that? Well, when you have everyday Joes and Janes watching YouTube reviews on the Pixel 10 and hearing us talk about, yeah, it's 128 gigs for $799, the iPhone 17, you can get double the storage at the same price. Some people are going to flock to the iPhone. Seems stupid, right? But then you have the people that are really interested in Pixels, and they're like, oh, okay, so Boost Mobile has it for $299. Maybe I should just get it at that price. Or someone's like, hey, I saw if I sign up with Google Fi, I can get it for $449. Or if I sign up with Visible, I can get it for $582. You guys see what's happening here? Tech enthusiasts are like $799, $128, no good. So everyone's like, okay, anything under $799 is a good deal. And people generally love to shop with good deals. You go to the grocery store, you're looking for the savings. You go to a general merchandise store, you're waiting till it goes on sale. You're buying a brand new phone, you're waiting until you get a deal from what its normal price is. So we're just like free marketing, even though technically Pixels are no longer primarily focused on tech enthusiasts. They're focused on everybody. And wow, that was a loud noise. But they're focused on everybody else now. They are up there. The gloves are on. They're ready to duke it out with Apple and Samsung. And man, I feel like that, if I'm a Pixel fan and I'm over here telling people like, no, don't even go for it or whatever, whatnot. It's like, I feel like that I'm the tech enthusiast who championed behind Pixels of becoming, up there and considered, top of the line alongside iPhone and Samsung. And then now that they're there, like I'm like, the ex-girlfriend that's mad, like, oh no, now you can't be up there. You're not allowed to be there because you won't focus on me, I feel like that's how some people are taking it. We may not agree with everything that Pixel does. Just like we don't agree with everything that, Honda does or Toyota or, Dodge. We may not agree with a lot of things that they do, but we yet still consider those vehicles to be top lines for good bargain, good value. And at the end of the day, now that Google has this market share that they're focused on, primarily, so we're not hypocritical, let them go. They got the attention of people. It shows in their sale numbers. Now we gotta do is just wait and see what they do going into the future with the Pixel 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and etc. I'm just saying that. Put it all together in your head and see what you come up with when you think about the life of Pixels and where it's at today and exactly what happened. Because I can tell you guys, one of the big shifts with the Pixels happens to be that they stopped primarily focusing on tech enthusiasts.